What's going on, folks? This is Scott Schertzen with Streampunk Entertainment. Joining me, as always, is Mr. Brandon Kay, Mr. Kyle Krieger, and from Hardcore Sports, Mr. Mitch Kofsky. And welcome to Streampunk Reacts, where we rate, react, and review various sports from around the world, weird videos, and so on. This is the Sepak Takraw World Championships from the end of March. We got India, we got Japan. Japan has never won the World Cup in this case here. Sepak Takraw is a sport that goes back hundreds of years at this point. It is something that is huge in the Asian market, and quite literally, it is volleyball without hands. So, use feet, use head, use whatever you need, use chest, but it is a sport that is basically volleyball, but with more or less soccer rules built into it. This again is the World Cup Championship from 2025. You can see the kick, the high leg kick there, ball just inside the line. It is a sport where it's a best of 3, first to 15, or otherwise first to 17, depending on how close it ends up getting. So, gentlemen, what are your thoughts? And do you have a team that you're rooting for?
Are we competing? USA?
Yeah. No, this is India and Japan going at it.
Oh, out of these two? Ooh.
Yeah. This is the championship right here for the men's.
Looks like India's kind of doing pretty well.
Well,
But it's basically a combination of it's definitely it's volleyball combined with basically soccer.
Mm-hmm.
So or football.
Hacky sack in there too.
Hacky sack, sure.
Competitive hacky sack. There you go.
Which is that's out there too. That's legit.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, wow. This is a sport that I would never be able to do. It's like I could either drop kick it into the stand or that's it.
But see, the high leg aspect of it, the flexibility that's required, the little head score there.
I've torn about.
But, yeah, look at that leg swing, man!
Yeah,
Holy
that's
But
I could be like the setup guy, but then if you ask me to do some type of move in the air, I'm out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
imagine if you don't catch yourself when you do those when you do the wheel kick, you're gonna like land on your head because that floor does not look padded.
That was basically you saw in that one.
It's like your general rubber floor, but
like that hard.
Oh.
By the way, we've moved on to the third and final round at this point. Japan won the first one, India won the second one. So this is going to be a match that's going to go to 15 or 17, depending in this case here.
You have to win by 2?
You have to win by 2. If it gets too close to a certain point, you have to go to 17 points. It's the first to 17 in this regard. So right now it's currently 13.
So you don't. If it goes to 17, you don't have to win by 2.
Yeah, 17 is the final number.
If you go up 2-0, you win.
Yeah, you win the first 2 out of 3. You win first 2 out of 3. So it's a best of 3 format, which is similar to tennis, I think, in a lot of ways that way too.
You know what? I'm gonna go with India because I like the yellow jerseys.
Oh,
but
it looks like they're doing quite well.
Yeah. Also, I like
Japan. Can Japan handle a comeback on this? Can they stage something? So,
probably not.
So
I'm gonna say no.
Nice little volley going on. Head
is that ball like how hard is that ball?
It's not super hard. I mean, it's not like it's it's kind of more like a rubber ball. And I'm sure the comments will correct me if I'm mistaken on that one.
Yeah.
But Sepak Takraw has been around for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Its modern iteration with the organization and everything is a little more recent, the last few decades. But this is a sport that they have been playing since I think like the 15th or 16th century.
Yeah, it's because it's like if that's a hard rubber ball and you take it square off the face. Ooh.
Yep. But right now we're tied at 14 at this point. We're going right down to the wire. Japan is staging a comeback. Can they pull it off? Is the question here.
I wonder. We could look it up, but I wonder what did they use then as the ball when this was first?
Oh, back in the day.
Yeah,
I have no idea. Probably some kind of
a real one. My guess would be some type of leaf dirt kind of thing, and maybe wrap it up in twine or string or something like that.
Mm-hmm. In this case here, made of synthetic fiber or one woven layer. Without synthetic rubber, sometimes they must be made without synthetic rubber. Have 12 holes and 20 intersections, and a circumference of. And I'm sorry, I got to go imperial on this. 16.5 to 17 inches for men, and 16-inch men balls for men here.
Average size.
There we go. So, but yeah, the court is 13 by 6 meters or 44 by 20, and we have our winner. It is India.
Never a doubt.
Yeah. I'm pulling for Japan. I'm going to Japan actually in August. So we're going to get to the ratings now. Talk a little bit about what you guys think about this. Is this something basically that you feel can grow as a sport? How obscure is it, especially from the U.S. standpoint on this side of it? Our ratings, as always, are obscurity, watchability. Would you watch it on a Saturday? Bettability. Can Vegas make money on it? Because, it's Vegas. Playability. Can you guys specifically yourselves do it? And at the same time, badassery. On a scale from 1 to 10 for all 10 categories here, how badass is it? Gentlemen, do we have any volunteers to kick it off?
Sure, I'll do it again.
Kyle, it's all you, sir.
Sure. Obscurity is I'd say about like a 2 or 3 out of 10 because while, the U.S. doesn't really know much about it, it is pretty well known outside of the U.S., especially in Southeast Asia. So, depending on your region, it could be anywhere between, 1 and 5, but... But yeah, so I'm going to split the difference and go 2.5.
Perfect.
For obscurity. Watchability, that is it. Well, it's like, do you like those crazy shots in soccer? Do you like volleyball? Well, have I got a sport for you?
Have I got a sport for you? but wait, there's more.
So watchability, it's like if you're a fan of it, oh, absolutely. But overall, for like say just your average idiot, I'd say watchability. I put that at about a 6 out of 10. It's about as interesting as watching volleyball, with the added bonus of bicycle kicks. It's not something that'll put you to sleep, and it can be pretty interesting to watch. So you know what? I'll actually bump it up to 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Bettability, if it's a world sport, especially if there's like a World Cup for it, Vegas will make money off of it. We'll get a lot of bets, depending on the region. So I'd say bettability would be about an 8, 9 out of 10. So 8.5 out of 10. Playability, I can barely. It's like I can kick a hacky sack, but
you can show up to the court itself.
Yeah, exactly. I can drop kick. I can drop kick a ball, but I have a hard enough time with a ball that size when I play spike ball with my hands. So trying to do it with my feet, nope. Even though I can kick a volleyball, so playability, I'd put myself down as a 2 out of 10 because I'm about as like I got no movement anymore, so that ain't working. Badassery though. I would. It's about as badass as volleyball. So, the worst thing that can happen is you either fall on your head on a bicycle kick, or if you get hit square in the face with the ball. So, badassery, I'd say about maybe a 2.5 out of 10.
Okay.
It's a skill sport, very much a skill sport. It's like you're not really putting yourself in harm's way for permanent damage, like I said, unless you fail to catch yourself doing a bicycle kick.
Which I think is probably pre-ingrained, because if you notice, a lot of times when they were doing bicycle kicks, they hand automatically went out.
Yes,
it was almost like
the hands were automatically down. So it's like you're not going to get the worst injury you're going to get, barring landing on your head, is pulling something in your leg.
So you equate badassery to danger.
Yeah. I mean,
that's a valid.
You got to be tough. You got to if there's danger, you got to be tough to do it. But it's like you don't need to be really. You need to be athletic, sure, absolutely. But when it comes to being tough, I've seen many tougher sports.
Okay. So, Brandon, on that cue, do you want to take it, or do you want me to?
Yes, I will. I will take the baton here. Obscurity, I want to keep it fairly low because it's made up of so many different aspects that are already familiar to us. It's just combining them together. So I want to give it a 4, just because putting it all together, we don't really have that in America. So I'll go 4. Watchability, I'll go 9. I really would. Just seeing the back and forth, the volleys, the rally, the highlight bicycle kicks, all that stuff. I think there is a lot of watchability there. The bettability, 10 out of 10. Nothing else could be said there. Playability, personally, I could do the setup guy. I could do the one or two hacky sack setups, but like the bicycle kick parts, that I can't do. So for me, playability, I'll give it a 2, just because there's some things I can do. And badassery, as I am not so much like Kyle, where I 100% equate badassery to danger, but I do play it into the factor pretty extensively. So I'm going to keep it. I'm going to go 5.5 ish, just because there's a lot of the skill that's involved. I think depending on if you pull off a sick bicycle like that, it's a badass bicycle. Like you would sit there and be like, that's a badass bicycle kick. So I'll keep it fairly neutral there. I'll go 5 there. But yeah, I think that's the CPAC. I can't even say it, but
Sepak Takraw.
CPAC Takraw. I'm a fan. Nice.
So, all right, obscurity. I'm going to go a little higher, only because I'm viewing this purely from the U.S. perspective. I'm aware, obviously, in Asia, this is like kabaddi or a lot of the other sports, so well recognized. But just also for the sake of being a little different, I'm going to bump it a little higher. I'm going to say a 7. Because while I think the U.S. is not aware of it much yet, they will be. Because there's an interest and a growing penchant for sports that are a little more off-kilt, a little more different, a little more obscure. I think obscure is the better word I want to use here. And especially here in the U.S., where I think people are getting tired of certain other sports, like, the NBA ratings are down, baseball ratings are down. People are starting to look outside a little more to see what else exists outside the U.S. So I'm going to bump that up to a 7 just for the sake of that. Watchability, I think somebody said it was going to be a 9. I would 100% be in line to that. I think this is a sport that you can sit there and you're really getting great engaged in it. I was sitting there watching the video, putting it together, and I'll be honest, I was rooting for Japan. I really was. And I was engaged in it, and I was admittedly a little disappointed when Japan lost. But again, credit to India in this case here, no disrespect. But you know what? You have your teams that you root for. You have your countries that you root for. So yeah, watchability, definite 9. Bettability, yeah, Vegas can always make money on something like this. I got to go pure 10 on something like this, especially because of the elimination aspect of it. Who do you vote for? Who do you root for? Playability, I can probably give it a 5 now. When I was younger, probably in my 20s, I probably could do a lot of this because I was much more flexible back then. And I remember distinctly one time inadvertently kneeing myself in the teeth during a routine where I was trying to warm up. The leg kick came too high, and I literally kneed myself in the mouth. So back then, I probably could have done it. Now, I can be the back end guy. I can definitely be the guy serving the ball. That part, I got that down pat. So I'll give myself a 5 for that. But badassery, yeah, I got to give that a 9 here. It is something that is just, you got to be limber, you got to be strong, and also you got to take a lot of punishment. Landing on that mat, again, your hand comes down. You saw how they sort of just rolled into it after a bicycle kick. You have to protect yourself a lot because one bad injury, and damn, that wrist is gone, that shoulder's gone, and that is an injury that will linger for decades. So, badassery is 9. Mitch?
Obscurity, I don't know. It's kind of tough for me. I'm going to just give it a 5 right down the middle. And then what's next? Watchability?
Yeah, watchability.
1. I'm sorry, I can't watch this. I really cannot watch this. Coming from a guy who cannot watch soccer, so I'm just like,
no soccer, no volleyball, no.
They know I can't watch soccer.
And here's another thing too. If the female can play in this, okay, maybe there will be a different female volleyball. Okay, add soccer to it. Again, different.
There's a reason why U.S. women's soccer is killing men's soccer right now, by the way. In the ratings.
Oh, yeah, I bet. I bet. And I don't watch that. So I'll give that a 1.
They're also a relative better team to their competition, but that's another story.
Yeah. What's the next thing?
Bettability. Can Vegas make money?
Of course. Of course. I'm going to give this a plain out 9, just depending on where they're located and where they're watching from. So it's going to be different from there. Next one, badassery.
Playability.
Playability. I could be the guy who tosses it up. So I'm just going to. How do you become a ref in this? How do you become a ref in this?
Same way that you're a referee in volleyball.
Yeah, the sport is hundreds of years old. There's probably an academy for it.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
hundreds of
Always
years old. There's a
horse
long
farm.
history in India. Like I said, this is a very,
They probably
very
have a
active
council
sport there.
for it.
They probably
Yeah.
do. So
So I would give that like a 6.
Okay.
And then the badassery, I don't really care about this sport. I'm not really into it. I'll give it a 3.
all right. So you okay? So basically, it's funny. This side of the column is basically it's badass. That side's like meh meh. So all right. So
You
that
can
was
have a skilled sport and not be a badass in it. Like, look at golf. It's a skill sport. You're not looking like a badass driving a cart down the course.
But here's the thing: I can actually sit down and watch golf. I can't watch this.
really.
I
don't know,
love golf because I grew up watching
Which
it.
reminds
Yeah,
me of the
but when
whole
they're walking the course though, so
I
like
can watch that.
Some of them do.
Like I can honestly watch
That's
that.
6 miles a day right there.
I watch golf for the calm announcing.
If you ever get the chance, watch Gary Thorne's. He decided to actually golf narrate a baseball game once.
Yeah,
So,
I've seen that.
yeah.
Because it was during the pandemic because no one was in the stands. He was
Yeah,
having-
and it was just the perfect Gary Thorne. God,
it was a great opportunity.
I miss that guy as a
Very fun.
broadcaster big time. But anyway, that is Sepak Takraw. Thanks as always for tuning in. Appreciate it. Like I said, I'm Scott. That's Mitch, Kyle, and Brandon. Take care. Any other sports you guys want us to cover or any other videos you want us to cover, drop in the comments. We work for you at the end of the day. Anyway, I'm Scott. On behalf of all the rest of them, take care. Thanks. Stay awesome.